Yo, what up, my name Eric. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to improve your FPS in Fortnite Chapter 3. Chapter 3 came out about 14 minutes ago, so I'm recording this video ASAP, and I'll get this out to you guys as soon as possible. So first of all, this is going to be similar to my other videos that I dropped for Valorant or Apex Legends or my previous Fortnite one that I uploaded, so it's going to be around the same. Now, first of all, let's go custom ISOs. So I've always tried to push you guys to use a custom ISO. Now, I know some of you may not want to use them because you have like school on your computer and stuff like that. But that's why I want to talk about a dual boot. Now, you may think, well, what is a dual boot? Well, essentially, a dual boot is a where you have two different windows on one drive. So if you have a 250 gigabyte drive, it's probably not best to do this. But if you have like a 500 gigabyte or a terabyte drive, you can split the drive pretty much in half, or however much you want to do, just for your gaming. I know some people do it when they have production, when they make YouTube videos and content. They have one specifically for gaming and streaming, and then another one for doing their rendering or their editing and stuff like that. That's an idea too if you want to use that. Now for me, I have a Windows 11 one, and then I use Ava, as you can see here. Or Eva. I'll probably say it Ava the whole video. But essentially, which one you should use, I would recommend Ava if you want to test it out. I would test both of them if you want. But Ava had the lowest latency and it had decent FPS. I wouldn't say the FPS is better than GGOS, but the 1% lows and the 0.1% lows, which is what Ava strides for, are way better than any other ISO I've ever tested. So I recommend trying out both of them if you want. Ava is probably the best one because a lot of the pre-install script, the post-install script, all that stuff is amazing. And I recommend doing. I have made videos about how to install custom ISO using Rufus, but it's pretty. I can show you actually how to do it right here. So just open it, press on no here. This is the portable version. You can download the other version if you want to. So you need a flash drive. It doesn't matter how big it is, as long as it's like 8 gigabytes at least. Select that here. Select your ISO. Partition scheme will be GBT or MBR. You can select whichever one it says there. If it breaks or something doesn't work, then go through here again and redo Rufus, and then change it to the other scheme. Target system, keep it the same. Volume name, you can change it to whatever ISO you're using, and then everything else, keep it and press start. It should take 5-10 minutes, if not less than that. Yeah, it'll be pretty quick there. The next thing I want to say is if you use a dual boot, there's videos online. I have a video ready to go out. I'll upload it sometime, and it pretty much shows how to dual boot. Pretty self-explanatory if you know what you're doing. There's videos online you can find too if you want to figure that out. So just do that. I recommend using one of these if you want the best performance. The next thing is drivers. Now for drivers, it's pretty self-explanatory as well, where you just go and uninstall your drivers if you have a driver. Now, one thing I'm going to say right now, Ava, one thing I'm going to say before we even get into any of these other tweaks is Ava has a pre-install script where you install your drivers. It goes through affinities, it goes through priorities, it goes through certain services and drivers that need to be enabled for specific games. And I recommend reading everything it says. Every single thing, every single question it asks, read it thoroughly and make sure you do it right. And then make sure that when it comes to doing tweaks, don't do anything. Don't do any tweaks that I show you in this video for Ava. If you use GGOS, I'd recommend using these tweaks because that doesn't really tweak these other things in GGOS. I'd recommend going through do Ava. The only thing I would say do is just do the Fortnite game folder. Don't do the drivers or the tweaks. So once you do the drivers for GGOS, if you install custom ISO, you don't need to actually uninstall your drivers because there's not a driver there. But if you use a bloated Windows currently and you don't want to install like a custom ISO, then uninstall your drivers. It's pretty easy. Just double click this. You'll close MSI Afterburner if you have it open. Select your GPU right there, and then just press on clean and restart. It will make a restore point for you, and then it will reach your computer. Now, if you use a bloated Windows, you got to make sure you tick prevent downloads of drivers from the Windows update, because once it restarts, if you use a bloated Windows with the updates on and everything, it will automatically update your drivers, and you have to do this again. And then NV clean install. This is the updated version. It updates here and there. But when it comes to drivers, so recently NVIDIA imported image scaling into the control panel. And so I would recommend, if you want to use that, I made a video about it. I made 2 videos about it. So if you want to watch those videos, I will link them in the top right in the corner in the cards. And I'd recommend watching those videos to see if it's worth using it for yourself. I talk about which games are going to benefit from it, which games aren't going to benefit from it. And then when it comes to the drivers, you can use the very latest version, which is 497.90, which is the version I'm on my main build right now. Or you can use the second latest version, which is 49676. Those are the only two versions that it has, and then every other updated version after that will have it. But there's a feature called image sharpening, I think, on the older builds. It's not updated for performance. It's not updated like what they did with the latest drivers. So I recommend testing uh, this out if you want to use image scaling. Now, if you're not going to use image scaling, I'd recommend using version 457.30. I've always tried it for its best performance, very good low latency, so I recommend using that version. Then what it's going to do is going to install it. It'll then ask you some installation tweaks. So this is Paint, but I'm on Eva, so it doesn't really have a Windows viewer, so excuse that. But these are pretty much the tweaks that you want to enable. Now there is other tweaks. This is from like an older build of NV Clean Install. Essentially just do any telemetry, disable it, disable the, there's a feature called HDCP. Make sure you disable that. Make sure you do not use the NVIDIA control panel from Microsoft Store because it doesn't work. Now, after you download your drivers, we're going to go through the tweaks. Now, like I said, if you use Eva, do not do the tweaks. There's no need to do the tweaks because you already have all of these things done for you. The only thing that I will say to do right away is when you use Eva, you have this different type of task manager right here, and it doesn't allow you to change your startup application. So what I recommend doing is using auto runs. Essentially, what this does is it enables programs that are processes or certain things that will run in the background that you probably don't want to run when you start up in your computer. So for me, I have Discord update disabled, the Epic Games Launcher, Spotify, Steam, and like some browsers and the GHub software and stuff like that. I have all that stuff disabled. And I recommend you do the same thing as well. No matter even if you have GGOS or Eva installed, I'd recommend doing that. Even if you use a regular Windows install, do that. But yeah, so if you use GGOS, I recommend running these. So to actually run these, if you are using GGOS, so ISLC, it'll open up in the bottom right here. It's pretty self-explanatory how this works. You just want to split your gigabytes for this one, and then just use this as 1024 here, and then just enable the timer resolution over here to 0.0 or 0.50. That's pretty much all you got to do there. Keyboard, use the lowest if you run into problems. Use your higher number. Same with mouse, and then just run the mouse optimization. Now, video tweaks. Like I said, if you don't use Eva, do these. If you use Eva, don't do any tweaks. Like I said, but just run all of these. The profile inspector, just double click this, and then just go to import profiles, and then just double click the nanny profile right there. For the power tweaks, just run all these. For power plans, so these are just power plans that I've used in the past and have been the best. So if you use Eva or Ava, you will already have a power plan like the best. So I wouldn't recommend using a different one. But if you use GGOS, I'd recommend using Amit, which Amit is the guy that made Ava. So I'd recommend using Amit's power plan no matter what Windows you have, unless you have Ava. To actually import these, it's pretty easy. You just got to go like PowerShell. So once you have your PowerShell open to actually import the power plan, all you have to do is type in power cfg-import, and then in quotation marks, copy the location of the file. So I'm just going to copy this, and then I'm gonna do a backslash right there, or forward slash, and then I'm going to press on tab, and then I'm going to press on enter, and then it should say imported power scheme. And then just go to your power plan on your computer. So I'm just going to go change power saving settings, and then just go to my power plans, and you can see Amit's power plans right here. You can see I'm using Ava, so I'm not going to use Amit's, but that's how you pretty much import a power plan. RAM tweaks, this is based on how much gigabytes of RAM you have. Just do whatever one you have there. Then registry tweaks, I recommend running all of these if you want to. Auto runs, we already ran through that, and then MSI mode. Just run this as administrator. And with Ava, I get a little bit more options that I usually don't get on my GGOS. Everything has MSI mode already enabled through Ava's power plan, and I recommend, like I said, using that. But just make sure MSI mode is enabled for your graphics card. If you have a 3000 series card, you don't have to worry about that. It'll already be enabled for you. But for every other card, I recommend turning that on. Now, the final thing that I'm going to talk about is deleting the Fortnite game file. It pretty much is a cache fillers. It pretty much a bunch of cache over time, especially if there's a new season. I recommend doing this, a new chapter. So all you have to do is just open this folder and then just double click this. This is just going to have a shortcut straight to your app data folder, no matter where it's located. And then inside of here, I recommend just pressing either delete button right here or just renaming the file to something with like an X or a 1 or something. And then essentially what that's going to do is it's going to recreate your file. Now, it's not going to get rid of your keybinds. The only thing you will have to do is turn on performance mode, go through your settings for your graphics settings, and that's it. That's all you have to do. So it's pretty easy like that, but it will clear cache, and then it should improve your FPS and lower your input lag, and maybe even lower your ping. So I recommend doing that. It's a pretty easy tweak you can run. Now, there's a couple final things that you can also improve your FPS on, and that is just disabling full screen optimizations, and also going through and maybe running the game as administrator or even verifying the files. And there's a couple other things I'll talk about in a second, but we're going to go to our Fortnite folders. So let me just find where the Fortnite folder is. Pretty sure it's in here. No, it's in this one. Epic Games, Fortnite game, binaries 164. And then inside of here, we're going to click on all 4 of these and just right click properties. And then we're going to disable full screen optimizations. You can also do the change high DPI scaling if you want to. But this isn't going to do a lot, but it can help with problems. If you run into some maybe glitches or something like that, it can help with that. But it's not that big of a improvement, but it's still worth using it. The final thing I want to talk about is not really an FPS increase, but it's just something that makes it easier for you if you reinstall Windows, or if you reinstall your game a lot, or you just don't want a bigger file size. Just go to your Fortnite game file and go to options. Click on the 3 dots, go to options, and then just disable high res textures. Just disable it. It's 21 gigabytes. You don't need it if you don't play on ultra quality. So just disable it and you should be good to go. And then when you install Fortnite, you actually can disable this when you're installing it. So you don't have to install them while you're installing Fortnite. That's pretty much the same thing. When you install it, there should be 3 dots or options, and then disable high resolution textures, just like that. But anyways, I hope this video helped you in any way improving your FPS in the Fortnite Chapter 3 season. But yeah, so if you have any problems, any questions, let me know. Like I said, I will put cards with my debloating GPU drivers. I'll also do the custom ISOs, the other videos that I might need you guys might want to watch to help you improve your FPS, or some things I talked about in this video that I talked more in depth into an actual video. And let me know if you guys want any other videos. I can talk about other videos if you guys want. Maybe some more Fortnite related stuff for this Chapter 3 stuff. Let me know. But anyways, if you guys like the video, like and subscribe, and peace out.